tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another after show for Breaking Ground right here on AFTERBuzzTV.com. I'm Cathy Kelley.
You are.
The guy that messed up.
Yeah, I messed up.
Mark Donica.
Yeah, we should just start over. I'm totally kidding. Don't start over. Hi, I'm the Internet Soapbox Mark Donica. You can follow me on Twitter at SoapboxMark. I'm going to be in the chat, and if you're using hashtag ABTV Breaking Ground, we can look at all of those comments as well.
Whoa!
Whoa! Whoa!
Sitting next to Mark Donica, Brandon Taylor.
Still getting used to that.
For the third week in a row, despite the complaints of the hobo, I'm back again today.
Wow.
Good.
What did he say?
He does not want me here. He thinks that I'm boring.
What a jerk.
He's entitled to his own opinion. That's
I
all.
mean,
Hopefully
don't tell him that I said that. But.
No, like, hopefully you can duck out of here before he gets in.
There's a little buffer between where this ends and where the next show begins, where I think we can transition
won't
nicely
cross
without
paths.
any
What
fighting.
if-
and
I was just
screaming.
thinking about it. I don't think I've ever seen you guys in the room at the same time.
I think
Do you
they'd be
plan
great.
that on purpose?
We should.
No. It's. I'm sure it's just a happenstance thing. It's not actually, because we're not. We are, but it's just one person moves and the other person comes in, and just revolving door.
Yeah.
This is really, really insane.
Crazy.
This is
Can't
my
even
life.
fathom.
This is totally normal to me.
Weird. Anyways, this episode of Breaking Ground, for me at least, I felt like this was the most action that we've gotten to see. Definitely the most interesting, and followed the right stories, I guess.
Well, yeah, because they, instead of doing, here's a bunch of people, look at what they're doing, here's a bunch of people. It was the storyline of Texas, which had multiple people.
Texas and not Texas.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Well, it was one Texas and then Josh, which was the storyline of what's happening at the center. It was just one person instead of multiple people. So I think they've really started to feel out the reality storyline thing, and it's working a little bit better.
That's how it should be. I mean, it all shakes out. You really should just sort of focus on 2 or 3 things per episode to really give you an idea of linear flow. And we really sort of got that with this episode finally. And it feels like it's starting to get the ball rolling on something that is easier to watch.
We're still seeing bits and pieces trickling over from past episodes, which I think is good because then it ties it all in. In case you missed our last after show, we had Brittany Fetkin sitting right here, who you guys know as Devin Taylor, giving us insight into what it was like at the Performance Center when she was there. And
the moment that we saw on the show.
Yeah. Crazy. But tonight's episode, we start off with a little bit of Dana Brooke, and then we get into Josh, as you mentioned. We see Matt Bloom suggesting yoga for him.
No, not suggesting.
No.
He said mandatory yoga.
yoga.
You do not have a choice.
Yes.
That's interesting. I think that's actually a fairly healthy thing to introduce into their physical curriculum, as it really helps the upkeep of the human body over
Stretching
long periods of time, and it
Do you think
increases
they do
endurance.
DDP yoga?
You know what? I wouldn't be
possible.
surprised. It seems to work for a lot of other people, and I know a lot of wrestlers who use it. I haven't gotten into it myself, but
Do you want
it's
it?
not that I haven't. I think
I think Joe got it to you.
Yeah. I do have
actually,
it.
no,
but-
yeah, because you got it and then gave me
That's right.
the DVDs.
I did give it to you.
In legal, he bought me a copy of the DVDs.
I let him borrow it
legally.
Don't give me a cutter.
Internet.
Anyways,
But you skipped right over Sarita.
oh yeah.
Just at the top with the whole. Just
I think
as
it's
the
because
button.
I already knew that she
Yeah.
was there.
But it was just cool to
Wasn't
see her
news to you.
super quick. It's like Sarah Stock. Hey, awesome, very cool.
Yeah.
And just like seeing her in a teacher capacity for up-and-comers, which is cool.
And I know, I believe Sarah Del Rey is also on the road as well, doing some of the shows out there, but she still is heavily involved with the Divas division down at NXT, and Sarita only adds to that because of her experience. I mean, if you guys know her from TNA...
I'm sorry, what?
She...
You mean other independent productions around the world?
Thea Trinidad was her tag partner, which is pretty cool. They were great together. But getting back to Josh, we see later in the episode as well, William Regal telling him to kind of change it up because on Tough Enough we saw he was the Yeti, that is his character. Yay. And he said he's kind of had that moniker his entire, not just his career, but since he was in high school. So he's built this persona, this brand, but is it getting too tired?
Right. It becomes difficult to change because it's kind of, I don't want to call it sedentary because it sort of moves, but after a while it stops growing. It just sort of is you, and when you are you, it's hard to change what you do. Especially
especially saying I've been this for so long, that already gives the idea of, oh, so you're that sounds like you're tired of it. That sounds like we should be tired of that.
He's not tired of it, though.
I know. And he didn't present it the right way.
He just can't separate himself from it. He can't live without it at this point. It is him, and he is it, and he can't fathom the idea of disconnecting himself from it.
Which is crazy because we saw in the last episode Sami Zayn saying he built this character his entire career, and that character was really freaking over.
But and
then he has to disconnect from that.
Agreed. But even in this episode, the storyline of this episode, even though it was just kind of a little feature, we got to whoever didn't see the E30 special saw Tyler Breeze talking about the creation of Tyler Breeze, or else he was done. And we saw the little clips of Mike Dalton from FCW, and seeing that at the tip to go, here's a guy who's done so many things and isn't necessarily super connected to anything that he's done, but he knows what he has to do in order to succeed.
Yeah, and the successful guys are the ones that are, they're not tied to these characters, even though they could have something great. It could be awesome, it's not working, and they have to change, they have to evolve. And like you mentioned, Tyler Breeze, Sami Zayn, Tensai, like all of these people are people that constantly changed to fit into what worked.
And that's very much the theme of this episode to a degree, and the story of Josh over the course of this episode. So much is changing in his life. He's just moved to Florida. In fact, he's sort of he doesn't even have his own space yet.
No, he's looking,
right, he's looking for a place to call his home with his family, trying to bring them down to Florida, and he doesn't even have his banking situation resolved because Bloom was talking about that as well. You've got 2 weeks to get it together. 2 weeks. And after that, you can really start to sink your teeth into what it is being down here.
Because, after those 2 weeks, it really is a full-time thing where you get 1 day off a week if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And, we've talked to some of the NXT talent where you get the Sunday off, but then sometimes the Sundays are on the road, or you're doing media, or there's an extra charity event, and you don't get that time to do your laundry, let alone go to a bank that's closed on a Sunday.
Yeah. That's why you really have to love this stuff, because
it's a lifestyle.
You don't get a day
they keep
off.
On saying that. It's a lifestyle. It's not something that is for everyone. It's something that you have to be passionate about. You have to love. It's not a job. It's your whole being.
They're building on... There's a consistent story that was introduced from the very first episode of Triple H saying some people make it, some people don't. It's all about this, that, and the other thing. And especially with focusing on Dana last week and how much he's like, it's especially for the women, where it's like, we have to have this done, we have to have that done, we have to make sure our hair is, no surprise photo
Brittany kind of debunked that.
Yeah, I was happy she did.
But even so, just the fact that you have to do so much.
And
honestly, now we're at an episode with Josh where he's starting to learn about how much he actually does have to do, instead of just focusing about being on TV every week.
To Dana's point, that is how how I feel in Hollywood.
No,
I
it's
feel
true.
like I constantly have to look good, and if my hair is not done or my makeup's not done or whatever, I'm going to, potentially miss out on an opportunity, because you never know when you're going to randomly be standing next to a casting director at Starbucks or have a meeting or an audition. Like, I've had, 20 minutes notice for auditions, like, hey, can you get to the opposite end of town, and being in gym clothes and having to have a dress in my trunk of my car. Like,
yeah, you got to be ready.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just you're constantly going. It's the entertainment business. It's your business. It's my business. It's our business.
Hey, I'm included.
You are included. Now you're the producer side of it.
Hey, I got a thing on my shirt that says I work here.
But it's really massively rewarding.
Oh,
despite
completely.
the go, my happiest weeks are the ones where I don't have any days off at all.
Oh, that is for me as well. Like, you just have that adrenaline rush that gets you through it, and you're on like 2 hours of sleep a night, and you're still so freaking happy and excited to be alive. Like,
I'm lucky that right now my current schedule has my massive shows on Wednesday in the middle of the week, in the middle of everything, to where I have to fade up to all of this but busy schedule from the beginning of the week and at the end of the week, but it rises to this crescendo of getting able to talk about wrestling and NXT with the NXT team, the best wrestling team on AFTERBUZZ TV, according to us.
And our moms.
And our mothers, some fathers, wherever they are. But that was for me. I know where he is. I don't. He's at the bar. He's getting cigarettes. But
cigarettes.
It's been like 20 years now.
Several years ago.
But and then I have one at the end. But either way, what I'm trying to say is, like, I agree. The madness helps kind of put everything into perspective. And sometimes when it's slow, you can't think of it not being crazy.
That's why wrestlers have a hard time slowing down or stopping, because the madness is their normal.
I figure that's why they go to Hollywood, because it's if anything, it's just it's a fade out, because people are like, you did that in one take. That's amazing.
Right.
That's fantastic. And you do your own stunts.
It's the same.
Whoa!
It's the same go, only you don't get your ass kicked as hard. So
and you get a couple of
nice.
weeks and then a break, and it's not constant. It's not like just 3 hours.
Right, except for Rod. I remember Roddy Piper would just go. He would not stop. He'd have thing after thing after thing after thing. He would not ever stop when he was out here. Oh, man.
Yeah,
something to look
I don't know
up
what to do with myself if I have a day off. I'm like, I should do a YouTube video or something.
That's what I used to do, but I'm like, I just want to play games.
My vacation, I'm flying to New York to work. Who does that?
Oh, yeah, that's pretty funny.
Getting back to the show.
Enough about
and
us.
Josh,
Let's talk more about us.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's great to have this perspective. I think we're all on different aspects. Literally, we're in 3 different places in the industry, in an industry, very, very similar to this, and I think it's necessary, especially for this show. It's necessary to have that perspective,
right?
But I would not FaceTime in a Walmart. I'm saying that right now. That I was like, cool, you get to see your daughter. Why did you did that at a Walmart?
Was that a sponsorship plug? Because they sure showed that prominently.
That iPhone, just like, look at my
iPhone. The Walmart plaque on the front of the shopping
I
cart.
don't think that was on purpose. I think he was just like,
they could have done it in the car.
I think they were
saying.
It's like, call me back in a second.
When you're a father, when you're like, you want to talk to them wherever you are.
I know,
like,
and that's why I'm cool.
I wouldn't know.
That's what I'm saying. I
respect that so much more than the dad that's like, I'll call you back later, and it's like after bedtime or something.
But then it's like, then you saw the people walking by. You don't know if they were looking at a dude who was talking loudly in a Walmart, or a dude who was on camera,
or a dude that's 8 feet tall and like has a freaking man bun.
Where was he? Did he show up on camera?
Just because he's not tall to you doesn't mean he's not tall.
Fair enough.
Right?
I call him Dad. There he is. Found him. So.
His first promo. No.
Oh,
it reminded me very much so of what he had been doing on Tough Enough, and that really, for all of the people that were competing this past season, they were doing call to actions to get people to vote for them. And that was what this promo was. He's like, Yeti Nation, stand up. Vote for me without the vote for me thing.
Yeah.
It's different when you're talking to an audience versus when you're talking to a competitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't really have any direction.
I don't know if
he just
they
said things.
Go say some words. Say
some words and we'll mold it from there.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, everybody has to have a jumping off point.
Yeah.
So it's like, go do something, and they did it, and they went, "You're gonna need to do not that. More."
Well, they said he has 10
more.
weeks to work on it as well.
Right.
Yeah, but it sounded like a Tough Enough video.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's just it lacked enthusiasm. It lacked character. It lacked relatability.
Yeah.
It just lacked human things.
This is what shows that Tough Enough didn't necessarily prepare these people for what to expect down at developmental. While he, the promos that you're doing on Tough Enough, he was one of the best at them to rally people and get people to vote for him. That's not necessarily going to translate into a wrestling promo.
Yeah. I really wanted to see, though, they kept panning to ZZ and just showing ZZ's reaction to him cutting a promo. I wanted to see ZZ cut a promo back-to-back to Josh.
Oh my gosh, I want to see ZZ cut a promo.
Yeah, we haven't seen him yet.
Josh looks like such a dick when he calls out ZZ, and I just want ZZ to step up and assert himself powerfully in the one area that Josh lacks, to get him.
I wonder
he can talk.
He can.
I wonder if he's going to be able to talk and have something succinct or like whatever, or he's just gonna.
He was our longest interview.
He's just going to go there and then not have anything planned and completely bomb. Because I could see both ways, honestly.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if he does the same thing that Josh does as in terms of intent, if he goes up there as a starting point with him and he gets to bear himself to that,
He's a bear?
He's a bear.
He's not a
ring bear, but he's just a bear. But if he gets a chance to bear himself to that camera like we saw in the training camp or the tryout camp, then I think he's gonna have more to jump off of.
Right.
Whoever
Josh
does a promo against ZZ first can end it like, "See you later, alligator wrestler."
It was fine without the wrestler. We got it. I'm gonna send you back. I'm gonna send you back to school so you can relearn your A to ZZs.
Double Z's.
Yeah. You don't have any talent. You make everybody Z. Can we skip this part?
I'm just gonna keep.
Shut up, Zach.
Letting you bury
Thank
yourself.
You so much.
Just keep digging that.
What did you guys think of Josh's second promo? Obviously, there was some improvement, but do you think that
he had like the first half and then he lost it?
Yeah, no, because there was that pause, and it was just like,
yeah,
okay, I'll go from here. But starting out with the cocky, I'm the winner, I have this and you don't. It's like, go, and go. Ready for the Yeti. Like that's a little bit cheesier, but it's a start.
I could definitely see the coaches getting angry that he's not taking direction because he was told to drop the Yeti or try not to be as tied to it, and it's okay. I mean, this is where you're supposed to practice, so it's okay if you try something different and it doesn't work, and then they say go back to the Yeti, but just at least show that you're versatile and have multiple characters as opposed to being tied down to this one thing. Because, I mean, you could be given a different gimmick at the drop of a hat, and then if you don't know how to do anything else, you're screwed.
Guess what? We're revealing who the bunny is, and it's going to be you. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Even though let's not talk. I wonder when that's going to show up on TV because I want to talk about that.
Donnie Darko bunny.
It looks like that or something from Five Nights at Freddy's, which I think is what they're trying to go for.
You just need to get through the fear, and there's in the ring you do get scared, but they teach you not to be scared of physical things, just pretty much in any sport. So he's a football player, so he's not afraid to go out there and throw himself at things. That's fine.
Yeah, but, like he was like, weight room, awesome.
Bearing your soul on camera is way scarier because that's totally you. It's just you. And I think actually what Josh should do is cut his next promo saying the Yeti's dead and just start over. just completely start from scratch and talk about anything else but that.
I'm like, I know it was the end of the show, but I'm really surprised that we didn't see any of the people like Regal or Katz go, hey, we told you to drop the Yeti.
We might see that next week.
Yeah, they
and
like
I
their
think that they're
cliffhangers.
alluding to it as well.
Yeah, since it was the last thing, it'll probably be the tag like we got on the top of this episode, or like we've been getting on the top of episodes from what happened last week as sort of a wrap up. So
Yeah.
probably.
I mean, that one part where he did say, I won $250,000 and you didn't. Like,
There you go.
That's
Kind of
good.
$1 million man there. Yeah, I'm
Hello.
better than you. That's strong. It's strong. It's something to dislike about somebody. But then I think he tried to save it at the end. Like he tried to be likable at the end after saying, I'm better than you.
it's
But
very
I like
difficult.
you to like me.
We'll kind of talk about this because it seems like Baron Corbin really enjoys being booed, but for most people, we have this innate feeling that we need to be liked.
Yeah.
So being a heel as your character is sometimes difficult because you don't like that the people saying that they hate you, even though that's what you're supposed to be doing.
But at the same time, if you try to be liked and you try too hard, people will dislike you.
Roman Reigns.
Well, a lot of other people.
True, but I'm just
Right.
what's happening right
so
now.
it's one of those things of you either have to just be you and have people like you and you not care, or you enjoy people not liking you. You can't try to have people like you. You just have to be you and they'll like you.
And you have to I don't think he understands what like the heel's role, the heel's purpose yet. Like, because if he's like, all right, if this isn't working, and he's still trying to be himself. He's not trying to be a character yet.
Right.
So if he understands, like, you can tell the people who love being a heel, like Punk like being a heel, Jericho likes being a heel, because it allows you to really get a reaction out of the crowd, and some people want to be cheered, but like we know,
Kevin Owens loves being
Kevin
a
Owens,
heel.
oh my god,
So
Oh,
freaking
yeah.
good.
yeah.
Yes.
So he doesn't understand. If he understands that I can still get a good reaction out of people, especially like we saw backstage in the Texas, and we'll talk about it. Even if you're a heel, that gets a reaction out of the people in the back, like a positive reaction of, look at how good he's working. Look at what that's awesome. So he doesn't I don't think he understands the role yet.
He doesn't know how to get the reaction. He's just saying words. He's not thinking about how the words affect the people who are watching.
Yeah, he's saying the
and
words
that
for
takes,
him.
It takes a lot of time to understand what
The psychology
words.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
even down to the
Psychology
verbiage,
stuff.
like certain ways that you phrase sentences can have an
Mm-hmm.
entirely different meaning or an entirely
Emphasis.
different reaction from people. Like they say, you can take a joke and it could be hilarious, but if it's worded the wrong way or has the emphasis on the wrong,
Emphasis.
Syllable.
then you're screwed.
Yeah.
No laughs.
Nope.
No laughs for you.
Hey, I mean, that case in point, there is a clown gimmick that was a terrifying heel. All depends on how you work it.
Yeah. Actually,
Zach, for your case, look up Doink the Clown, just so you can be frightened. Doink. Just so that if you're bored, look it up and be frightened.
which version? Like
Exactly.
the Happy Doink or Evil Doink?
But even Happy Doink was like, I don't like this guy.
Yeah.
Pulling it up now.
Yeah,
Actually,
he is.
Bull-
That's just for him. Everybody who's watching
Yeah.
knows Doink, but it's just like, be frightened.
I saw a picture of Bull Dempsey actually during Halloween. Had his face painted.
Did he?
Like Doink. It was
Monster.
pretty great.
Liked his appearance today.
Yeah.
So last thing I wanted to mention about Josh is we see, his family, and they talk about the family being uprooted, both his daughter and his lady companion, and this is something that I think a lot of the people who are at NXT have had to do, but we haven't necessarily seen, what goes on outside of training.
It has to do with kind of an old rule. You don't bring your family into the business,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah.
So there's that nice line between this is my work and this is my family, and neither of them will necessarily meet each other.
Yeah.
Real quick, Zach, you don't have to put that on camera. I just wanted you to see Doink the Clown, because everybody else knows who
Everybody
Doink is.
should know who
Flippin'
Doink
frightening
is.
as hell.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I am sufficiently
What
scarred
nightmares
for
are
life.
made of?
Good.
Good. Go ahead and print that out and just post it around the studio.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying necessarily bringing people into
Well,
the
no,
business, but
I'm not saying
the-
into the business. I'm saying talking about them, referencing them, keeping it totally separate.
Not even that. It's how much added pressure that brings onto you if you have a family and you have to provide for them and you are concerned about them moving across the country and so many other things that are going on while you also have to perform very well.
And maybe Josh should talk about that.
Yeah.
Maybe he should say, I have $250,000, but that money's going to run out. I know it's going to run out, so I have to make more. I have to fight harder. I have to put myself out there and do all this. Just say that on camera.
Those were some of Kevin Owens' strongest promos.
And he does it as a heel.
People think of $250,000 as a prize. I think of it as a challenge because it's a step towards the rest of my life where I have to make enough to support my family. So you better watch your ass because I'm coming for you.
And just think about all the other winners of
Where's
Tough
my
Enough.
contract? Sorry.
Think of where all of the other winners of Tough Enough have gone.
Maven. Actually, he was the most successful.
And that was it.
Him and Nydia.
The only people that were in Tough Enough that are still on the main roster today, Cameron's kind of in WWE, but The Miz.
He didn't win.
No, he didn't win.
That's the thing is, it's the people who don't win. It's just kind of a general, here, let's put everybody in anyway, sort of a thing. Like, let's sign, Tough Enough.
They literally signed everybody.
8 out of most of the cast has gotten signed.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see the trajectory of all of their careers. Who's going to make it to the main roster? Who has that passion? And
I hope Josh knows that he has the worst chances of making it next to anybody else on that show.
Yeah.
And that too should fuel him. And maybe he should talk about that.
I'm gonna be the first winner of Tough Enough to
win the World Heavyweight Championship.
Because I'm better than all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bigger, faster, stronger.
Or whatever.
I didn't win $250,000. I deserved it. Everyone knew from the first day.
It. Yeah. It's
Then they did that weird Chewbacca thing. It was like
Chewbacca. It's a Wookiee. No, it's a Yeti. It's the same thing.
Whatever.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
I want to see more of that.
I
know we saw it during the tryout camp, but I want to see more of that meeting.
Yeah.
Those meetings that they have.
Yeah, that gives so much insight into everything. Seeing their opinions on how people are progressing and
it frames the scene.
Yeah.
It's sort of like here you get to see how this person is thinking. It's better than an aside. Also, very much in chat, more successful than Maven, John Morrison. Totally forgot.
Oh no,
yeah.
John.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's just not with the company anymore.
Yeah, but he also didn't win.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah, in terms of winners. But he
got runner up.
If we got more of that.
I think that gives fans so much more of a respect for the people and what they're going through because they see, if something's not working, it's not necessarily on them or, they don't have direction. There's so many moving parts going into everything, and you can't really criticize.
And a lot of different opinions too. Even in that meeting, everybody has a different opinion about one single person and how that person should be molded and what they should change. And it's just all of those opinions together that sort of create the person that you see on TV. It's not one person, it's a group, it's a committee that decides how this person
one of my favorite things that WWE ever did was it's available on the network now, so you can watch it, was the Legends Roundtable. They talked about stuff that was older, but you got to hear about the booking of the big Texas shows, and stuff of that nature from all different perspectives. And this would just be a modern version of that because you got to see people in their element and you got to hear stories, and it all becomes sort of relative because it's like, well, I'm making this decision because of this reason, and you get to learn more about that person.
Yeah.
And if you haven't watched any of those, definitely go onto the network.
We do have to move on to other people since we
do. We were wrong.
I wanted to talk about Baron Corbin because while we've seen him in past weeks, we saw more of him tonight. He talked about how he really enjoys getting booed, and he is kind of that lone wolf in real life. And I wanted to know whether you guys think that that's true, or are they just kayfabing us still on Breaking Ground, where he's going to see bands by himself, and he likes to work out by himself, and he's getting in fights with people over, facts of what happened at the Alamo.
Well, I don't think stuff like that happens, like the Alamo stuff happens, without a base relationship. So, like, not to say that they're super buddy and he has best friends and everything, but he can't be by himself the whole time.
No one's ever by themselves a lot. Like, I'm a very reserved person, very quiet person, and I like to do things by myself, but no man is an island. And I do believe that is a large part of
No man is a nomad?
No man is a nomad. Well, no, you can be a nomad, but you can't be, you got to be with other people, amongst other people. Like, you can wander and not be connected, but you have to at least be around them. You have to soak them up. When you're on the road with them like that, you've got to create some sort of dichotomy. You have to talk to people. You can't just not talk to people. But I think he's sort of a quiet guy, and he goes out and does his own thing when he's on the road, and that's pretty normal for a lot of different guys.
Yeah, this was the road. So, like, this wasn't them like maybe going out after like a takeover or after a recording or a Full Sail show or whatever. This was, we have a limited group of people here. We've got more shows to do. Also, Austin's nightlife is super varied, and a lot of people can do many different things. Just go to 6th Street and try to make it down the street in one night. But so I can understand in this respect, whether it's for the show or not, is just like, oh, hey, I really wanted to hit this one spot, so I'm gonna go do that. Everybody else have
probably because he knew the band.
Yeah. And I felt bad for him with that dude. Anytime, like, sometimes fans get to be a little bit clean, just like,
that looks so staged, like a real world moment.
Yeah,
like,
but I could tell the guy that was doing it was real. That guy was drunk and belligerent, and he was attracted to the guy who had the camera on him. He's like, "Hey, we were filming. Oh boy, we got this going on."
But that definitely felt like an MTV Real World or Jersey Shore moment where they're just doing
the real world moment for me tonight was when JJ went up to Breeze and was giving him stuff about his shoes.
That
was like,
they were just busting each other's balls.
That was so JJ not even real.
Yeah.
Backstage, JJ says to Tyler Breeze, just to recap it for people, he says, "Those look like amateur boots. Did you even do indies before you came?"
It wasn't that. Did you do collegiate? Right, it was just very like, oh, did you? Hey, that's great. Did you do collegiate?
You wearing like real wrestler shoes? Were you a real wrestler? Like, that's. He would have A, known the answer to that question, B, known that he wore boots until he switched to wrestling shoes, C, he wouldn't have been talking to him where he was in the show at that time.
Hey, that's not something you say,
D,
gorilla.
You just don't say that to somebody.
Yeah, so that seemed like this was like the 8th time that this is something that they talked to each other about.
Yeah.
And we just got to see one of them with no framing whatsoever.
I think that was the producer going, "Hey, go give him stuff about his shoes," and you being like a real wrestler. Nobody would do that.
That's on par with Gimmick.
Right,
with
but it's
Jason and Gable.
This is the non-gimmick show, and then all of a sudden we go, go be in Gimmick. Like,
it's like, hey, I heard in your match that everybody was chanting Gables. What was that like? That once that got brought up, it was less of them giving each other crap and just being, oh, they're just messing with each other.
Why don't you just go cut promos on each other, for Christ's sake?
When you also
and especially Pierce is right there.
I was going to say, when you have the dramatic music behind it, that changes the entire mood of a scene. Like, something can be shot and it can be two people making fun of each other, but if you have it cut more dramatically,
that's it. It's all in the editing, and I don't want that to be the representation of wrestling and the company at that level. I don't want them to think that they're all just giving each other stuff right at Gorilla.
But that's the thing about Breaking Ground, is this isn't a show for everybody. This is a show where you have to pay $10 a month in order to watch it. So if you're not a fan of WWE, you're not watching this, and if you are watching this, you're like, oh, that's funny, and that's not real. Like,
I hope so.
I hope so too. But did anybody think it like so?
Speaking of Adam Pearce,
I was gonna say,
yes.
Really quick. Danny H in chat was like, and they were just like, so yeah, your shoes. What happened about your shoes? Like, they were just talking side by side and idle to each other. Like, oh yeah, they were chanting Gable during that match. Wasn't that like not even?
They're not chanting for you. How you feel about that?
It was so just like, it was bad. It was bad.
Oh, come on,
but
guys.
Adam Pearce, he was in charge. He ran the shows in Austin.
Yeah.
And he's not
doing a dang good job.
How long has he been full time?
I think a year. Less than that.
Less than that.
Because I saw his post about Austin.
Right.
On Facebook.
Gosh, I forget. But he's been working there more than 6 months. I know at least that, but probably closer to a year because it wasn't that long after he retired from the ring that he got hired by WWE.
Yeah, it was like within a couple months, right?
Yeah. So
get all of his
somewhere
stuff
in there, but he's got a good position. He's going on the road. And
for people at home who don't know who he is, can you explain kind of his background?
Adam Pearce is basically the NWA's last great champion. He and Colt Cabana had their incredible series of matches that went to, I think by the end of it was eight matches because they did one more after their 7. They had like a best of 7 series and just made that NWA championship worth something again. And Adam Pearce has been a fixture at Hollywood, backstage. He's given a lot of advice to a lot of different people.
He's on the flipping title belt.
Yeah, he's on the belt, which was pretty great when I was carrying that around and I would see him and I was like, do I have to give this back to him because he's got his face on it? But yeah, he has been instrumental in a lot of different people's careers and mine too. He's got a hell of a mind and understands how psychology works and where everything goes, and he's just a brilliant guy.
Just bringing people like him to work for the company who they have that experience, they wrestled, they understand the industry, and they understand how to teach people, how to mentor people. I think that's just only gonna help them grow. And
I think I like how with Sarah Stock at the top and Adam Pearce in this, they're name checking people for the fans. Like, because they're not giving them a sizable thing. It's like, here's somebody who's going to be on screen.
It adds clout to their brand.
That too, but it's also, we'll tell you their name because we're sure that you want to know, and we'll get back to them later. You will see them more.
You need to see Adam Pearce wrestle if you haven't before. You need to go see him wrestle. You need to watch all of the trainers, watch them wrestle. If you aren't familiar with them, go and look them up because there's a reason they're in that position. There's a reason these people train other people. It's one thing to be a great champion. It's another thing to be able to teach people and understand this business.
Yeah, and you can go and watch speak to that too, just starting out as a trainer.
Yes. Go watch people who understand this business and are training other people who are going to be something.
And not because we're friends with him, but I do think that Ryan Katz does deserve more recognition.
And I want him to be name checked.
As far as promo class, because we've seen, we haven't even seen him. We've heard his voice a couple times calling out people for promos, but he is so money on the mic. Like,
that's GQ money on the mic.
I know. Right. He's so freaking good, and he can freestyle, and he can improv, and he is what is helping these guys with promo class.
So many people want to see him come in a manager capacity on television. Like,
he should be.
There's so many people who are pushing for that.
But I texted Brandon this earlier this week. On one of the rags that I'm on, there was a update on NXT promo class.
Oh, I did see those.
You did see that? And it clicked on it. It was like, many people think that it's William Regal that runs class, but it's actually Ryan Katz, this, that, the other thing.
And I do believe that Regal probably has invaluable advice as well.
Oh, definitely. 100%. But, like, many people don't know that Ryan was Dusty's second.
He is untouchable as far as promos go.
Agreed.
And his creative mind is genius. Like, from what a lot of people don't know of, Adam Rose's posse to, there's so many things that he has a hand in, and I know that he did work very closely with Dusty Rhodes.
He was Dusty's second in command, and they were so close, and so much of Dusty rubbed off on him that's why he was chosen to continue promo class.
And the type of person that just wants to see everyone succeed.
Exactly. Yeah. So I hope that he gets name checked soon too.
I can't see why he wouldn't.
Yeah.
He's there. He's obviously there.
Hopefully,
whose voice is that you won't show on camera?
Hopefully we'll get that.
Most people probably don't know.
But hopefully we'll get that at the top of the next show, like we did with Sarah today. Hopefully we'll get that when everybody's giving Josh notes.
Yeah.
Because he's sitting next to the camera. He's in the director's chair. We know that because we see him, but not necessarily everybody knows that.
Let's talk about the Texas dates for a
little bit.
Texas! We talked about it for a second, but we see them getting off the plane, taking pictures with fans, doing autograph signings. And then we saw a little bit of the shows that they put on, as well as there was one match that Tyler Breeze did, and we saw Drake catch his phone, which I thought was such a cool moment that they caught that on camera and included it in the show, because I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, I didn't heard about it. And Drake singing Tyler Breeze's intro
in
the middle of the ring.
So good. That was so good.
I don't know how
Those
they
are
got the sound for that.
Things that you don't see, and that makes you realize that these people are so passionate about the product that they're putting on, and they're also having fun too while doing it.
Wrestlers, when they're wrestling, have the most fun of anybody, but most people don't understand what that's like because we don't show you that, and that's for us.
Yeah.
That is our moment and our time to enjoy ourselves, and you can enjoy what we create, but there are certain things that happen that we don't tell you about. They're just for us.
I think they might have had Greg mic'd.
Yeah,
Probably.
maybe.
Or they might have turned up the house mic a very little bit and
because
had that audio tied in.
They weren't taping these for anything other than
themselves
for Breaking Ground,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think they might have used some of the tag matches in.
They had some footage for packages, but aside from that, not really anything too much.
During the Texas trip, we see a little bit more from Apollo Crews, and we already know he has been working in the Indies for 10 years before he came to NXT. He gets to see his sister at one of the shows for the first time in years.
Awesome.
And I think that just shows how much a lot of the wrestlers in WWE have sacrificed. Like, you give up
just wrestlers in general.
seeing your family, you give up, so many things.
It's I know his family in particular is very spread out. And his sister said the last time that she saw him was when he was in Japan, because I'm sure she was stationed in Japan because she's in the military.
Oh, in Okinawa, probably?
Probably. So it was something like that. And his family's very spread out, and he himself travels a lot, so I'm sure he doesn't get to see everybody that he wants to see as often as he does. So when you have the opportunity, when you're in the same town as somebody, you have to make that effort and include them. And I'm glad that the show itself could accommodate having his family come in and him being able to spend some time
Same
with
thing
them.
with Corbin and his cousin and his nephew.
Yeah.
Or second nephew or whatever.
Whatever.
That made me, and I'm sure a lot of other people, really have a soft spot for Corbin, because when he was showing around his nephew, and then he gets a text message where the nephew wanted to beat up
Mojo. So yeah, like that's where you're start. Like, we have this image so far in the show anyway. We have this image of Baron Corbin as this guy who doesn't really want to be talked to, or he's by himself a lot,
alone.
And now it's like you get to see a little bit of his family and what he cares about.
Right.
So that lets you in a little bit, and I think we're going to be seeing that a little bit more into the series, so you can understand where he's coming from and why he's doing this.
So he himself will have an arc.
Yeah.
So it'll make it more interesting.
Yeah, so they're probably putting it on really forcefully and then slowly peeling it away throughout.
But does that hurt his on-screen persona?
I don't think so.
Really? Okay.
No, because because then you could be like, my family doesn't even watch wrestling.
Yeah,
they're just here to help me pay my check.
But I don't know. Does it?
We don't know yet.
Does someone's likability in a different aspect take away from their heat
Kevin Owens
in ring? Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Like, Kevin Owens is the perfect example of many things, which is a problem, because we don't have anybody else to say than Kevin Owens.
Yeah, because he's really blazing the trail.
Because you'll look at his Twitter feed, and on one thing he's got, I miss them every day that I'm not with them. Picture of his wife, his kids, his dog, and everything. And then the next one, he's like, you spelled. It's like it has an apostrophe in it. You flippin' clod, and then block. And so then it's just
but it's him trolling the internet for things about him. It's not even like the insult wasn't even in his @mentions. He just searched his own name and then found.
What a jerk! But he loves his family, and you're like, oh, he loves his family. What an ass!
One of the last things I want to mention from the Texas trip is we see Carmella and Cass shopping for hats and boots. And we just get an insight to how they're preparing for the Texas shows.
And so the chat was going about it, because a couple people were saying it. Are they trying to imply that these two are dating?
I mean, she called him babe.
She calls everybody babe.
But that, it looked. I don't know.
He looked so good in that hat.
And then I think he said something about her looking great.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I mean, they're kind of off together.
They didn't really even imply anything.
Nah, but it's
just like they're
the implication of a male and a female being off together sort of is its own thing.
Are Ty and Breeze dating too? No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe.
No, I've had guy friends that I will go shopping with or whatever, and it's platonic. But I think that there was an undeniable chemistry between the two. I don't know if they are dating, but like that's also good if you're in a tag or partnership or managing someone to have good chemistry, whether it's a friend thing or otherwise.
Yeah, it can be a little tricky though. If there's anything to be said about on-screen relationships and real life relationships in the wrestling business, it's that stuff gets pretty weird pretty quick.
Yeah. I do hope they address it.
Yeah, it might be a tease for later in the season.
Yeah, the one thing about Texas in this episode as a whole is that there was so much that happened. I feel they could have stretched this for at least 2 to 3 episodes. They could have
done a little bit. They could have split halfway through Austin and then done Austin and Dallas.
Yeah.
Sure.
We did get a little bit of like, and just a stone's throw away is the side of WrestleMania 32. Who's going to be here next year? Which was kind of hopeful, but it's like episode 3, you're already pointing at the WrestleMania sign. Like, come on.
I think that was a tweet that CM Punk had the other day. Point at the sign. They really love it when you point at the sign.
I forgot who that was, but I saw that.
I think it's only 8 episodes. So
Breaking Ground is only 8?
Breaking Ground.
Really? I thought it was 10.
Maybe it's 10. I thought it was 8, but I can't see them not doing another season of this.
Yeah, it's just when they start and when they finish. Like, this seems to be revolving around some milestone events. And how is the next season going to find those milestones as well?
Yeah.
Well, I think that it's not about finding milestones. I think that they purposely not create the milestones, but having Tyler go up to the main roster as they're still filming. I think that he was eventually going to go up to the main roster, but it might have been pushed a little bit earlier.
Not lucky.
I think that, there are a lot of things that happened during this time specifically for the show.
Well, that and he's just been so damn consistent. That's the thing. I mean, that's what you always look for in a guy who's going to be in any sort of position where they're going to have the camera on them is consistency. And that's one thing we got from the Texas tour is all of the matches were great. There wasn't one hiccup that they really pointed to in any of the events. All of them were sold out. It was consistency. And that's what you really need.
I mean, it's because NXT is the best and everything's going to sell out.
And speaking of NXT, we do have to watch today's episode.
Okay.
That's true.
We'll say that.
Well, this was a great episode of Breaking Ground.
I liked the preview for next week.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
And I think it's set up for the opposite of Josh with ZZ. Because you saw ZZ's struggling physically, but I think he's going to get on the mic and hopefully blow some people away. And then I'm really interested in seeing the relationship between Mojo and Zack Ryder.
Yeah.
Just like he's traveling with the main roster and comes down and does like small NXT stuff every now and again.
It's hard when you don't see your boyfriend.
Serious? I mean, you're telling me.
I know.
But yeah, I think it'll be interesting, especially since they're wrestling today.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I have to mention thank you to Crispy Does It All in iTunes for rating us 5 stars. If you have 30 seconds, go over to iTunes, type in Breaking Ground. You can find our after show for it and give us a 5-star rating, and we'll love you forever. Comment below in the chat. Let us know what you think of the after show.
Do we want to talk? Are we going to go forward with that contest we were talking about?
Should we discuss it?
Well, no. I mean, it's essentially done. We have everything done. So,
okay.
If you want. So here's what's going down. Thank you for that iTunes comment. It gave us an idea. We want to get this out there. We want to get up there. Our NXT after show is, if you search for WWE and podcasts, we're number 3.
Yeah.
So first of all, give that a review if you haven't yet. But for Breaking Ground, this is new. We don't know if they're going to get a second season, but we've got great guests like Brittany last week. We're going to try to get some more. But we need iTunes reviews for that. So if you go to iTunes, you leave us a review. Be honest. It doesn't have to be 5 stars. If there's something that we can improve on, we can do that. That's what this show is about. If we get 20 reviews, we're going to give away something from the NXteam.spreadshirt.com, which includes Solomon Krang, Hug Bailey Hug. We're doing that. tell your friends. If you have people that watch the NXT show but don't watch Breaking Ground yet, tell them. And also send them to our iTunes. We want to give this away. We've got so much. We can't contain it all.
We're just giving it away.
I can't hold all of this NXT merchandise. So yes, leave us some reviews, and we'll do that giveaway. We're going to keep an eye on it, and hopefully before the end of the season, we can give something away.
Yes.
Yay!
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you guys again for joining us for this episode. In the meantime, feel free to talk with us about everything that happened, Breaking Ground, NXT, wrestling in general, or just other stuff. Where can they find you, Brandon?
They can find me at CWFH Training on Twitter, and if you want to know how to learn how to wrestle, that's the place to do it. Message me there, and we can teach you how to wrestle. Buy a shirt at nxteam.spreadshirt.com, because if you're a Cathy Kelley guy, you really need to tell other people that you're a Cathy Kelley guy.
Well, don't tell them, show them.
Or if you're a cat, or if you're
the best way to do it is with
girl.
large print.
We have Cathy Kelley Girl and Cathy Kelley Guy.
That's right.
So we do have those available. We're putting up new stuff all the time at nxteam.spreadshirt.com. If we say something stupid, it usually goes up there. Like pun, repeat. Thinking about that. So yes, nxteam.spreadshirt.com. Follow me on Twitter at SoapboxMark, doing a whole bunch of stuff. Force Awakens is coming out, so make sure to follow us on Jedi Alliance, Jedi_Alliance, and we're doing a watch-along tomorrow for Episode 4. So if you're not doing anything in the morning, watch Star Wars with us. Cathy Kelley.
That's fun. You can find me on Twitter at Catherine Kelley, on Instagram at Cathy Kelley, and of course here doing the NXT and Raw after show. So check those out, and we will see you again for another Breaking Ground after show next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.